And welcome back to Who Would Win. And this one is a continuation of the Planeswalker one. Again, just reiterate, in the game Magic the Gathering, card game Magic the Gathering, in the lore, there are basically an infinite amount of universes, planes of existence with multiple creatures, individuals, so forth, spellcasters, magic users. People who can traverse through these planes are called Planeswalkers, and those are the characters we're looking at for this particular Who Would Win. Sorry. So, this one is Nissa Revane, who is an elf from a plane known as Zendikar, which is a very wild and aggressive plane. She is an element. She can, in her initial card form, she can summon elves, but it's basically been determined now she's more of an elementalist. Excuse me. I am really. It's hot, but I'm also not feeling well at the moment. But I'm well enough to do the video, but it's really freaking muggy in here. Again, rain plus the sun coming out and just it's not nice. I'm looking forward to the fall. And also to some extent winter. Winter is going to be a lot colder, obviously, but I am looking forward to the fall where it's at least cool out. Anyway, I digress. So Nissa, she's an elemental. She controls the earth, plant life, things along those lines. She also actually does have a sword, and she carries a staff that you see in the picture. That's actually can unsheath to become a sword. That's actually a sword in there. And she's got some mild skill in using that sword. She does have some mild physical combat experience, but she's primarily an elementalist. She is capable of manipulating the earth, the plant life, everything around there, to create elemental figures and beings. So who did I put her up against? Well, there's a bunch of characters that all have similar abilities, but one that came to mind, though, was Poison Ivy. She is not on the same level an elementalist, but she's a plant manipulator. She can manipulate, mutate, and control plant life. She's also got other abilities besides that, but we're going to get into that. I mean, I've already pretty much just gone into Nissa. That was pretty much the gist of Nissa. She to be fair, the size of the elemental can vary. She can make huge elementals. She can make small elementals. It just varies among her connection to the planet, to the plane. Like when she went on plane to Zendikar, her own plane, she's got no problem really commanding the elements there. On the plane of Amonkhet, which is based off Egypt, which is very corrupted and evil and things along those lines, she basically, or like Innistrad, she felt like a deep rot in the earth, like a horrible corrosion or something like that in the plane itself. So she couldn't, there's a bug on my screen. She couldn't use her powers quite as effectively. Poison Ivy is Pamela Isley. She got into an accident, is now basically an eco-terrorist. Thinks that plants should take over the world instead of, meat, basically. The salad shall rule the main course of the meat. She's basically capable of phytokinesis, basically controlling plants. And through that, she obviously vines, things along those lines, flowers, growing those, but summoning like almost sentient to some degree, man-eating plants. A lot of man-eating plants, really, like tentacles that have teeth on them. She's also capable of pheromone secretion and control. She's capable of, releasing pheromones that can control individuals on some level, even controlling individuals like Superman to some degree. But not 100% effectively. Batman was able to snap him out of it, but still. Also, her kisses she can kiss and mind control or just kill someone with poison. She's very useful with poison. She's very intelligent, very seductive. She's definitely a very seductive character. And I'm like, when I'm finding a thumbnail for this, I'm like, I have to find one that is not overly. I want to find one that's not overly sexualized, and that's not easy when it comes to Poison Ivy. But I think the one I use is a pretty solid one. She's always going to be sexualized because that's the nature of the character. She's a very seductive character. So there's that. So I mean, let's say Nissa ends up planeswalking to Earth in the DC universe. She's in Gotham. And because metahumans existed in the DC world, it's not like she would be a very weird standout. Still, walking around in Gotham, the way she looks, the way she dresses, things along those lines with a staff, it would be a little odd. She'd feel that the heart of this planet is definitely being polluted, but there's still good and salt and things in nature. And eventually she'd probably reach like the botanical gardens where Poison Ivy's been hiding out. She goes in there. She feels a nice connection to Earth, but she also feels someone else there. And a plant tries to attack her, but she kind of stops the plant and waves her hands, just glowing eyes, like who is there? And then Poison Ivy's like, and then they have a interesting conversation. Now, I actually think initially they probably wouldn't fight. They really would have a talk and do some philosophy there. Poison Ivy can actually see that she's also got plant manipulation powers, and it's very interesting because of that. She finds her unique. And she's clearly not 100% human. She explains that I'm an elf. Do you not have elves in this world? It's like, oh, we do, but they're kind of, I know there are elves. Um, we do, but they're a little more scarce, and they'll come out in the office. I was surprised seeing here, and then eventually it would come to the term that, come to realize that Nissa realizes that Poison Ivy is not a good person. She's an eco-terror. She's trying to direct things. So it's like, oh, sorry, I guess I guess we have to change the plans. If you're not going to help us, then you might as well be plant food. And then Nissa gets out of the way. Is able to cut. Now? It's going to be part of it's going to be who can manipulate the plants better. And I can say right now that because they're mutated plants, she's probably got Poison Ivy, and they're her plants basically. She's raised. She's gonna have a little bit better control over them because Nissa is not a strict plant manipulator. She can manipulate plants, but she's an elementalist, which means not just plants, but the elements, particularly the earth and the plants. She can do, I think, a little bit of water too, but it's pretty much earth and the plants. And basically, she tries to stop them. They pause briefly, but they come out again. She pulls her sword out and just cuts them. It's like, it's like, how dare you? How dare you? And then just summons a giant man-eating plant. And then Nissa's eyes just kind of glow. It's like, yeah, or she's like, I will not let you do, or whatever this. I will not let your schemes continue. And then she summons a giant elemental composed of trees and earth and things along those lines. Now Ivy tries them, and it comes towards her and starts about to crash into the poison, the man-eating plant. Now Ivy, I would imagine, tries to control it. She stops a little bit, but realizes that it's not just composed of plant matter; it's composed of earth and things along those lines. So it crashes into the man-eating plant and rips it out of the ground. It's like, no, my baby! And then all of a sudden, she gets red. It's like, you! How dare you! And then she's again trying to loosen her grip out of this elemental's hand, but she can't. It's only mildly loosened because only some of it is plant life. Some of it's the part that's earth. She can't do anything about. So the part that's plant life is also under Nissa's control. And in terms of control, it's very hard to determine who would actually have the better control, because Nissa uses magic, whereas Poison Ivy actually uses science. So it is literally magic versus science in this fight. So the question is, who's got better control? I think it is Nissa's magic has better control. However, Ivy is able to get a hand free, I imagine, because she is able to at least mildly control the plant life. And she's got one more trick up her sleeve. And just blows basically a pheromone her, and then just blows it towards her. And Nissa smells it, and as basically she gets a whiff of it, and she's starting to lose her place. It's like, please put me down, please. It's like, why are you hurting me? I thought you cared. And then and this is like, now she's thinking back to like Chandra and the Gatewatch, which she abandoned in the storyline right now. She abandoned those people. And it's starting to wreak havoc with her a little bit. Just, no! And then the elemental starts to crumble, but it's like I guess I gotta start stuttering like that. It's like starts to back up and crumble, and now she's using that to control the plant life of the elemental, and eventually does let her go. And she starts to saunter over a little bit. The plants start to come back on her side, and this is just, it's you. I have to stop you. It's like, do you want to stop? And then because Poison Ivy makes a comment like, no one can resist me, not even men or women, as she was at one point kind of controlling Catwoman to some degree. Though it was revealed Catwoman was faking it to some degree. But that's because of her personality. Strong enough willpower and things along those lines can't overcome this stuff. Or, just having like a toxin immunity or things along those lines, pheromone immunity. It's like, do you really want to? And she just kind of just caresses her. It's like, do you really want to hurt me? Just a kindred sister like yourself? And then, and then Nissa's just. But here's the problem with that working on her, is that Nissa is very introverted. She is not fond of interacting with people. She's not good at it, is the thing. She has acknowledged she's not good at it. So it's very difficult for her to interact with people effectively. And because of that, she is a bit of a recluse in some ways. And she's still, but because and I'd be messing with her. I would fully imagine that would be messing with her. So and then she's like, no, and then she's basically then like, oh poor dear, it's okay. And then she just, and I would imagine just a controller, she's going in for that because I think it's pretty much about that. Harley and Knisley are bisexual. In fact, they've been a couple before in the comics for a while. So she has no problem like lip locking with a chick. Especially if she's done that with Supergirl. I actually looking at the picture, I'm like, oh, she did that to Supergirl at one point, trying to control her mind. It's like that's okay, I'll make it. But she's going in for lip lock, and this and the last bit of effort, a personal avatar, her like the Ghost Dynamics, because they only really existed on Zendikar. But it was an elemental she named. I remember that, and I can't remember its name exactly. But it was like a personal elemental, and like closest thing she had to a friend for a while. Something about that, like the essence of that comes back for just a brief degree. Reminds her about Soul of Zendikar, and then she just powers through the manipulation, and then just the elemental grabs her and says, "Ah, no!" Like, I will not be controlled. And all of a sudden, right before she's about to crush her, she hears a voice like that's an. I can't do a good Batman voice, but that's enough. I'll take her from here. It's like, whore. And then she sees this guy coax her back. And despite the fact she can tell this guy probably doesn't have any power, because she can sense there's no mana. I mean, we can argue. I think I did one video of mana-aligned characters and what their like cards would be. And I should really do more, because despite the fact you didn't get a lot of views, I really enjoyed that. Oh, excuse me. So he's like, it's like, yes, she's insane and she's manipulative, but she doesn't deserve death. And it's like, do you think she deserves death? And then Nissa is about to is now taking a deep breath and is like, no. And it's like, fine. It's like that's It's like, just, and then he maybe just hits her with a dart. It's like, and knocks Poison Ivy out. So Batman takes her away, has a brief interaction with Nissa. Nissa is like, who is this guy? It's like, whoa. And then he does the Batman ghost and everything. It's just, what? Where'd he go? So, in the end, Nissa wins this fight. However, I see a very real scenario where, in fact, this is not a close fight. I mean, this is not a one-sided fight. This is actually a very close. I'd actually go about 60-40 if I'm going to be honest. 60% of the time, Nissa wins. But, see, in terms of pure manipulation of the elements or plants and light, and whatnot, I think Pamela Isley and Poison Ivy has a slight better control of plants, but as the overall elementalist, Nissa is just a stronger individual. Plus, she has the added ability of having a blade on her, and having some connection to her roots and home plane. But because Poison Ivy has pheromone and very strong pheromone control manipulation, there is a real scenario where she could have just easily controlled her and just brought her to her side. And now for all you guys out there who watch this, who ship characters, like shipping this act, you know what? I could actually see that being a legit shipped character, like crossovers like Nissa and Poison Ivy. I could see that being pretty easily shipped. Because in some sense they're similar characters, but also very different. But yeah, and I decided to just let Batman be in there because he's Batman, and it would actually make sense for him. If you're at the Gotham Botanical Garden and he's checking Poison Ivy down, and he hears finds all this commotion going on. Yeah, it makes sense Batman shows up. He probably was watching the actual fight saying, like, who is this? She's fighting her, so she's clearly she's at least not on her side. But yeah, because of that pheromone thing, or her pheromone ability, I got to give Poison Ivy a very strong chance that she could win. I just think Nissa has a bit better shot overall because she is an elementalist, not just a phytokinesis user. But what do you think? Do you think Poison Ivy stomps? Do you think Nissa stomps? Do you think it's closer or farther than I make it out to be? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, though. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, you want to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do something at some point. We'll do a review of it at some point. I'm going to have What If later up today because I'm pre-recording this right now. This is all Wednesday. Plus, the Death Battle prediction will be up later today. Rogue One. I was about to say Rogue Nation, but it's Fallout. Mission Impossible Fallout on Thursday. Week of Who Would Wins continues. I'm going to say this, though. I'm not going to name names, though. If anyone watches that last Who Would Win I did, you'll know who we're talking about here. I will take all, and I wrote down just about every suggestion that he hadn't already given me. there is a I mean, I'm not saying there's a limit to how many suggestions I'm going to take for someone, but I'm almost getting close to saying that I can't take any more suggestions from certain people, just because. Look, spamming suggestions is not going to make me get to you any faster. Everyone who gives me a suggestion is in my notebook in a particular order. So at that point, I can only just, go down the list to give everyone a fair shot, and then just recycle and recycle and recycle. And more new people continue to give me that, so it takes longer to do. So I appreciate you wanting to I do appreciate suggestions, because right at this point, I probably got I'm not joking, I probably got over 1,000 suggestions in this book alone. So I am good for a couple years on my Who Would Wins at this point. But just understand, spamming suggestions is not going to have them. It's not going to get me to do them any quicker. And look, there's also spamming. Maybe I've had people spam like 50 at once. Spamming over 200 suggestions. That's much. That's a little far. Okay, let's just be fair here. That's a lot on one video. Come on, man. Come on. You've already. And I'm not going to name this person again. You can probably know. I'm just going to say that said person has given me well over a couple hundred suggestions as it is. I've got all of those written down, so I will get to them eventually, no matter how many years it takes for me to get to them. But, maybe take a pause for the cause. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, though, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. And I'll see you